Welcome back to the Always Thinking Mindset channel, where we give you positive vibes and simple rules to achieve your goals. Now, in today's episode, we're going to speak on what is a 401k and what are the benefits. Now, before we begin, I do have a disclaimer. I am not a tax or professional service person, so please do your research, get with the proper person if you have any decision making, especially financially. And like I said, don't trust a guy on the internet. But anyways, if you like today's video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Like I said, you don't have to be a subscriber. You can just give it a thumbs up. It does help the algorithm. And if you love the channel, then you know what to do. Now, let's begin. So, just to start off with a statistic, the Consumer Financial Survey has stated that nearly half of Americans don't even have a retirement account or a savings account. I find this extremely, harmful to any future investor because what happens is we all get stuck in this monotony of life, but at the end of the day or the end of your life, you have no golden egg. Now, when we begin, what is a 401k and what are the benefits? So, the first rule, you ever heard people say you should max out your 401k, max it out, max it out. What does max out mean? Well, let's start off with 401k. 401k is usually introduced by your employer. Yes, you do have to be employed. So this video benefits those that are already employed or going to be employed in a company, right? There is um, programs if you are self-employed, and that is a whole different video. So today we're just focusing on the employer-employee relationship. So a 401k is basically a savings account. It's a nest egg uh, to actually, to think of in the future and actually invest while you're actually working. So companies have come up with this alternative to the pension system, right? Because back then they used to have what's called a pension. That means a lot of people pay into it, and then when you retire, those people that just got in there will pay your check in the pension. And usually pensions are to the lifetime duration until you expire. But now companies have switched away from that to be a 401k. 401k is simple. You pretty much put money in, and through time, through compound interest, it just accrues tax free. But at the same time, it is a perfect investment vehicle for anybody employed at any job. Now, when they speak of maxing out, what does that mean? So every company depends on how much percentage they do. I can give you a great example. In my job, they offer up to 6% dollar for dollar match, right? And what this means is that uh, technically up to 4% they do dollar for dollar. The last two, they'll do half a dollar. Let me give you an example. So within those 4% of the money I put into the account, so let's say I put in a dollar, they're going to match a dollar to go into the account. So now we have $2. With that, with accruing interest through time, whether it's 20 years, 50 years, however long we live, it's going to compound in interest. Now, the last two percentage, they do half a dollar. So that means if I put a dollar in, they match 50 cents. Hey, free money is free money. This is why I made this video, because you got to understand what a 401k is, especially when it has employee matching, employer matching. But take advantage, right? This is free money that the company is willing to give you in your nest egg so you can retire and have this beautiful life and hopefully be like this picture over here in the beach drinking a Mai Tai. So when they say max out your account, what that means is that every year, depending on the year, they usually give you a limit of how much you can contribute into your 401k. So let's say, for example, this year is 2025. I believe it's 23,500 is the max amount you can put into your investment account. What does that mean? That means every check that you get paid, that there's a certain limit you can put into the 401k. Now, I have plenty of friends that actually take advantage of this. They love this. They literally put 70 to 80% of their check in there, but they don't have dependents, they're single. So everything depends on your lifestyle and where you're at in life, because same time, I need my check. I need to pay bills. I need things to going on. And yes, I love investing, but it all depends on you and your finances. Now, this max out is usually reference to each year it goes up, usually goes up a little bit more, but at the same time you got to understand a 401k can only be pulled uh, when you hit the age of 59 and a half, right? And a lot of people get mistaken that, you don't have to pay taxes on it. You do have to pay taxes. They're just trying to figure out when you're paying taxes, right? Whether it's before or after you take it off. Now, the 59 and a half rule is basically a penalty. Penalty is different from taxes. Penalty means that if you take it out prior to 59 and a half, you will get taxed. And it varies about 10% tax of the contributions that you've made, and that could be a big chunk, But every year they come out with new guidelines of 401ks and how much you can contribute. These are the rules, and I believe even after 59 and a half, if you enter 401k, they have what's called a catch-up amount, where you're able to do not only the contribution amount, but catch up, put a little additional into the 401k because you're up in age. Listen, at the end of the day, money is money. So the better you get at this, the more you're going to be able to squeeze the lemon at the end of your retirement years and have so much more money. So, which leads me to my next rule. The two main buckets of 401k are usually what's called a traditional account or a Roth account. You got to understand these are two separate accounts. One is pre-tax, the other one is post-tax. Pre-tax meaning that you get paid the amount and you actually get it from your check and you put it into the account. Nothing happens. It gets taxed, it gets built up, compound interest. Now, with the traditional 401k, once you decide to take it out, let's say you pass 59 and a half and you're ready to retire, or whatever the age that you want to retire at, you're given the option to pull it out, and now you're paying taxes in that amount or that time frame, right? Because you got to understand, taxes never go down, they usually go up. It's just like property. But at the same time, you decide when you want to get taxed, and a traditional Roth account is exactly that, pre-tax. It's saying, I'm going to put money aside and you tax me when I take it out, when I touch it later. Okay, who knows how high taxes will be in the end, but that is what's called a traditional Roth account. Now, the second bucket is a uh, Roth account. And with this Roth account, which I suggest everyone do, this is my favorite personal suggestion, but you get taxed at the moment before you put it in the bucket. So you're paying taxes on it today, not in the future, right? Because we don't know what the future holds. We don't know how high the taxes are. I might as well pay taxes now while they're still technically low. So when I pull it out, I've done pay taxes, right? All that money that the compounded and actually saved is actually for me. So with the Roth account, you actually pay taxes before it goes in the bucket, but it's okay though, because at the end of the years, you're able just to sign off, get your money out, and go enjoy life. But those are the two main buckets, I would say, of a 401k plan, which leads me to my last and final rule of compound interest. Compound interest is pretty much you putting it into an account through the years, through the times, through inflation, through taxes. Everything starts to snowball, right? And this is the beauty of what 401k is. It's a simple, basic investment vehicle that anybody can usually obtain. And it's usually done through your employer where you're working at, or if you get that future job, ask them about the 401k, ask them about 503b. You got to understand there's plenty of different vehicles to make money, but you have to follow up and be knowledgeable of that. Today, I'm just speaking on 401k, the basics, and at the same time, how they work and how can you benefit, right? Because in the end, you have to protect your future investments. But not only that, you want to reach the golden years and enjoy it without being in debt and worrying about money, money, money. But compound interest is pretty straightforward, is whatever amount I put in, obviously through the years, whether it's 5%, 10%, whatever the amount, it usually revolves around stocks. And within this vehicle, just through 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, it starts to compound and it starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And understand it's tax free. That's one of the benefits of the 401k, right? It's tax free until you take it out. but at the same time, it's growing, it's staying there, it's not going anywhere. A 401k is a great investment, especially if you're doing so many projects on the side. Let's say, we all want to be athletes or musicians, and we, we're trying to pursue a career. It's okay to have investments on the side because while you're doing that, this is growing, right? That's what you want. You want to have multiple strings or multiple investments or streams of income at the end. So you don't have to just put all your eggs in one basket. And the 401k is a great, great, great asset to actually invest and grow. And at the same time, if you have the decision that you're not working for anybody, you're going to make yourself a mega millionaire, great for you. Good job. And give me a call. But at the same time, you got to understand that things take time. We end up having families, and there's certain obstacles in the way. And sometimes working for an employer is not bad, right? Because they actually offer health benefits, 401ks, and you got to take advantage of all that. So while you build your dream, it's okay to nest that on the side. Understand what the benefit of the 401k is, how far you can go, and at the end, you're able to invest and just be financially free. So you and your loved one and your kids are able to enjoy without any debt. So if you got value out of today's video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And at the same time, if you love the channel, you know what to do. So that ends today's video. And as always, we will speak soon.